Reservation.
The chief, just one man.
Right, Patterson.
Patterson. That's Patterson. The rest of them.
May I introduce him to?
Yes, this is Chief Red Cloud.
Huh?
How do you do? He had a stick. Go ahead, I want to talk to you first.
No, more hela talk here.
Oh, let's see, now you guys know each other. Let's get along.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get ahead.
I will ask Mr. Fool Crow to start us off in this negotiation with an Indian prayer. I do not Ushmakala. Not Oglala. And we're not going to wait any further. We must go on with the negotiation. And I'm going to ask Mr. Patterson at this time how much authority and how much power he has to negotiate with us on so many matters. Mr. Patterson.
To the White House, Washington, May 15, 1973, to the headsmen and chiefs of the Teton Sioux. We are sending 5 White House representatives to meet with you for the purpose of examining the problems concerning the 1868 treaty, a presidential treaty commission, which you propose as a method of re-examination of that 1868 treaty. The White House representatives are not themselves a treaty commission. They come to listen to your views. At this time, Mr. Chief, I would appreciate if my associates could join me here.
Just a minute. They have a schedule, of agenda that they want to do before anything. We know things that they have. 1868 treaty ke he un thing is good. Chung of this more. We know things that they have. Before we start with negotiations, Mr. Fulco would like to ask one question with a simple answer, yes or no. That's what he. Tak was je chief Fulco le inhoring take. Ona se 68 treaty ko he un kiki juk ta he. Na un kiki juk te ne he ha e na hia in te he gala inhoring take lo. En fait, toutes les garçons sont en bas. Sake, Hamayutot, Namakaki Ayuto. Today, I met one of the good representatives of the government. He said, I want him to take a good look at me and my Mother Earth. Oh, Makaki Lemitra. This is my country. Sake, Lakwa Imu Steki he. 1868 happy ki hai uecha. Yes, ena no ek he toha ma station ma kochile no. He said, this is my country. And he said, I want to ask him a simple question. He said, can be reinstated back to 1868 treaty? On that simple question, I want Mr. Patterson to say yes or no on the matter. Can we be reinstated back to 1868 treaty?
That's right. This is the letter which the government gave on May 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And as you remember, it said, we will come here to hear you, to meet with you for the purpose of examining the problems concerning the 1868 treaty. Now, what is your specific question? Your question is, can the 5 of us rewrite the treaty?
We were cut off by introducing the Indian Bureau and the negotiation, the treaty-making period was cut off by introducing the Indian Bureau into play. Yeah.
When you say the Indian Bureau, what you mean is that in 1934 you had the Indian...
No, 1871. 1871.
So the 1871, which you're talking about the...
Before that, we was a nation,
Yes.
making treaties with the government of the United States. We have ever...
Act of Congress.
Yes. No, we want to be reinstated back to that period of time and be a self-governing nation. That's what he asked.
I understand. I'll give you the answer. In 1871, the Congress passed this law,
Yeah.
which said as you described.
Our treaties are a supreme law of the land,
Right.
and if he can change it, he can change it again.
If no one in the executive branch, even the president, if he were standing here personally, can change that law. The only way that law can be changed is if the Congress changes it itself. And the president can't do it, and I can't do it, and nobody can do it. Only the Congress could change that law in 1871.
Mr. Patterson, what we are trying to reach here is, at one time we had our own system of caring for internal affairs of our tribe, called a Ogoshpeyamani, which was a council, same as you call the tribal council now. And that was our system of government. This is the question that they're referring to. Can we reinstitute our Ogoshpeyamani system?
What you're referring to is the Indian Reorganization Act, isn't it, which set up the tribal council system and so forth.
Destroyed our
I understand. The Congress passed the Indian Reorganization Act in 1934. And that established the system of elected tribal governments in not just Oglala, but in Indian country, among Indian people throughout the country. And the president, again, if he were here himself, can't change that act of Congress. The Congress can change it if they see fit. A committee of the Congress is planning to come here and hold hearings here on the Pine Ridge Reservation among the Oglala people. But I would be dishonest to you, and I will not be dishonest to you if I said that the president or I or my colleagues could change a law of the Congress. That's the law. I hope I've made it clear. And any other answer would be a dishonest answer, and I'm not going to be dishonest to my friends here.
I don't think there's any doubt, or there shouldn't be any doubt in your mind, that there's been a total breakdown of tribal government on this reservation. That we have a dangerous, explosive situation here on the Pine Ridge Reservation. A situation that demands immediate action. The abuse of the Indian people on this reservation is continuing. Between now and November, when the primary election is held, I guarantee you, if nothing is done immediately, you're going to have on your hands the deaths of several people on this reservation.
Mr. Patterson, I want to talk to you. We don't want tribal council. We don't want BIA. We want our 1868 treaty. The reason why we don't want BIA is because when we send our kids to school, they have long hair. We have long hair. Our ancestors have long hair. And when they go to school with long hair, they're Ames. What is Ames? They're Indians.
Right now, we have pending a divorce action between the Indian people and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The grounds are extreme cruelty. And what bothers me is that we know that the marriage has ended, but you don't know it. And those of you those of your colleagues who are in the Interior Department, you've talked continually for 2 days about changes you're going to make in tribal government. In other words, efforts to patch up the marriage. But we want you to know that the marriage is dead.
Bobby Kennedy said something that's stuck in my brain forever since. He said, if you Indian people want freedom, he said, you're going to have to remember that you're going to have to fight for it every day.
We want our 1868 treaty back. So we are standing on our 1868 treaty, and we're going to stay there. Otherwise, there will be another Wounded Knee. I was shot at, but our Great Spirit watches us. So you want to be careful. And we talked about the BIA and all the corruption that was there and all the grievances we had. But they wouldn't listen to us. We went from task force to task force, trying to tell them what it was like on the reservation. They said, that's your problem. You white people caused it. The people in the White House not listening to the Indians. We have hardship. The tribal government is not doing a damn thing for us. I myself can say it because I never worked under tribal. I never was associated with the tribal government because we don't get no help from there. We can't beg, but we never get anything. I think it's high time these white people should listen to the Indians. We see our grandfather die talking about the 1868 treaty and about the Black Hills claim. I think this time, I think the white people should listen to the Indians and let them govern themselves.
They're terrorizing these people on the reservation. Is any one of you from the Civil Rights Department of Washington? Good. Then can you take some complaints back to Washington for us? Because of these police. They said ceasefire. They made our American Indian Movement people put down their weapons. Now we don't have no weapons. And they throw flares at us. What rights have they got? Such things as this is going on this reservation. I intend to say that I have civil rights. Now, if you can take documents, take them back to Washington because of civil jurisdiction. They say we don't have no civil rights. They're depriving us of our civil rights. My grandmother always told me, never believe a white man, he speaks with a forked tongue.
And everywhere I went, throughout the United States, even down into redneck country in Texas, I found out that we had the majority of the support of the American people. 2 weeks later, they took another poll where they asked if they thought, the American public, if they thought Richard Nixon was involved in the Watergate issue. 63% of the public said they thought he was involved. So the American Indian movement and the people who are wearing Wounded Knee had more support than the President of the United States. That's where we're at, and we got to realize that. The American Indian movement is not going to stand by, and we make our same statements that we made prior to coming into the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, where they had restraining orders against the whole movement, that we are not going to stand by and watch our people be brutalized anymore, Indian women's daughters being raped, Indian homes being firebombed on this reservation or any other reservation in the United States, and $25,000 bonds and 11 indictments and possibilities of over 100 years in prison is not going to stop the American Indian movement from protecting Indian people's rights in this country. The American Indian movement is here to stay, and I'm sure it's going to be around a lot longer than these gentlemen sitting right at this table here today.
All of these crimes, as you call them, these deeds that the Washicha, the white man, has committed time and time again a millionfold, which they call business ventures and virtues and so forth. If an Indian does it, it's a crime. Who created Russell Means, Dennis Banks, and all the others? Remember this in that defense there. The federal government created them. You gave them birth. And that's why you're out here today, or you could be in your nice air-conditioned offices back in Washington. But maybe Mr. Nixon was adamant. He ordered you out here. Now get out there and talk to those Indians. By gosh, they're stirring up things over there. I got my hands full with this Watergate thing. Deep in them smoldering embers in the heart of every Indian, they're still there. The Teton Sioux Nation still lives. You haven't snuffed it out yet.
We believe that nature is God. We have to live by nature. Before the coming of the white man, we were alone in this vast country. No one to depend on, no one to lean on. We have to find our way in life. We depend on the wild games that was given to us by the Great Spirit. Yes, we believe. As we progress, we seek the power that gave us life. And in order to find that power, we had to adjust our lives to that of nature. Whoever is behind this power which gave us life must love his world. This is the religion of the red man. And following this religion, they became one of the greatest nations on the face of the earth. I don't believe that as long as this world is in existence, there never will be another nation that will enjoy what the Indians have enjoyed before the coming of the white man. They were free. There was no known crime. There were no Indian problems. I know that everybody here agree with me that we have enjoyed a life which is supreme under the law of nature. Because we say that nature is God, and God is nature, and we believe in it. The peace pipe which was presented to the Sioux Indians a few hundred years ago, with a simple instruction that when they are in trouble, when they are in need of guidance, it covers all things. They must use it to communicate with the Great Spirit, which we have done. From the beginning, the white men set foot upon our country. We smoked the peace pipe with them. We made treaties with them. The only law we have among our Indian people, we must never tell a lie. No matter how bad, we must never lie. This is Indian religion.
Long before the white men ever came to this area, to this region, the Creator put Lakota here. And he gave them a set of rules to follow, a set of laws that told them how to set up their council and run their government and to take care of their people. A traditional method where your council comes together and they sit in a circle and they make decisions in the way that the Creator showed them to do this. This is the type of government that sat when that treaty was made in 1868. That was the government that existed there. That's when the minds were one, because they were operating at that time the way the Creator gave to the Oglala people themselves. This is how it was done. And I'm telling you, that's the kind of government that was here, that governed this land long before any white man ever even thought of coming here. If you are going to get the power back that belongs rightfully to this great Lakota, you are going to have to go back to that old way. You've got to disband the BIA, the method of governing that the white man has showed you to do. I know he's imposed this on you for a long time, and it's very difficult to even imagine what it will be like to go back and have our council sit the way it did 200 years ago, when no one could tell you what to do. You shouldn't have to ask them, take this resolution back. You shouldn't have to ask them for anything, because the Creator gave you this land. The Creator gave you, Lakota, this land, and He gave you a way to govern this land. When you started to adopt the white man's ways of governing your people and taking care of them, the power of Lakota began to dwindle down. The next meeting you have, you go back and find those people that know how they did it 200 years ago, and conduct your meeting in that manner, and use your medicines. Then when you go to the white man the next time, you won't have to ask him, you can tell him, this is what we are going to do, because you made a treaty with us. It's not a father and son agreement. It's a brother and a brother agreement in a treaty. When you wrote a treaty with him, you made him your brother, not your father. A father has the right to reprimand his son, but a brother doesn't have the right to reprimand his brother. A brother doesn't have to have his brother permission to do something in his own territory. And from what I've seen happening now, it isn't too late to go back to that, to bring yourself back and put your council together and bring their minds together as one. You should never let them have you bring you to a place where you lower yourself, where you have to ask them to do something. Give them resolution and tell them, you take this back to the President of the United States. We demand of you to take that message to the United States, because this is your territory. Possibly the only place that we can really get justice is that if we form somewhat of a united coalition of all Indian groups that have treaties with the United States and take that to the World Court. But we have to do it together, and we'll still stand with you. And we're very proud of what you've done, our Lakota brothers. That's the way it is.
According to this treaty law, I will say, as a medicine man, through my vision, white man's no good. They should get on a boat and go home.
And I think we definitely need another meeting. I think in the meantime that this commission should return to Washington, consult with your superiors, and give us some answers. I cannot this afternoon, as a representative of the White House, also play judge. You know, I've heard the things you've said. We've all heard the things you've said. But I'm not the judge. I haven't got all the facts at my hands, and I'm not trying to hear both sides. I haven't heard both sides. So please don't put me in the position, or don't go away and quote me. All I'm saying is this, that Indian people all over the country must have fair tribal government. And we are going to try to make sure that that happens. Mr. Franklin is in his inaugural message is saying that. I'm saying that. And we will try to do that. If you want me to speak with forked tongue, I'll speak differently. But I don't think you do. I think you want me to speak straight to you.
This is only the beginning. And that if we have to meet together again and talk, I hope it will bring results at the end. So we thank you from all of us for your being here and spending 2 days with us and discuss some of the things we have and that's been bothering us for a long, long time. I hope you do something about it. But stay.